Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy December. Give me 1 second, per usual, for me to share my screen here. It just takes a second here to get going. And Stephanie, could you please confirm that everyone can see and hear and see the slideshow okay? I guess we're good. Okay, otherwise you would let me know.
Yeah, we can see it. Yep.
Thank you, Stephanie. Welcome to our December TechWomen TechGirls Power Breakfast. I am Heather Ledoux. I'm the Executive Director of Professional Programs and Partnerships at Franklin Pierce University, as well as the Chair of our TechWomen Power Breakfast. For those of you who have never attended, feel free to type in the chat box that you're new, and everyone will make you feel welcome. And thank you for joining us if it's your first time. For all of our regulars and our returnees, thank you again for getting up on this crisp December morning and joining us. You might be having lighting problems like me because it feels like the middle of the night. I'm in my kitchen now. Normally I speak to you all from my office, but it literally is like pitch black in there. And I have a whole thing of lights here, so it's kind of comical. But anyway, thank you again for joining us this morning. For those of you who are new, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're all about. The TechWomen Power Breakfast is made up of an amazing group of women and men. Everybody is welcome here at our breakfast. We come together to grow professionally and personally, share inspirational stories, we network with each other, and we really bring awareness to what's possible for women in tech today. And we meet every month, the second Wednesday of every month. And throughout this whole pandemic, we have been meeting virtually on this fabulous platform called Remo that the Tech Alliance found for us. And then eventually in 2022, we will be back in person. So hopefully, if you're able to meet up in face-to-face, we'll be meeting at the Manchester Country Club, and stay tuned for when that will happen. But it definitely will happen in 2022. You heard it here. Well, I shouldn't say that. You never know anything these days, but that is our hope anyway. Also, a couple housekeeping items before we get going. If you haven't noticed, you are all on mute. And your cameras are all on off, so we can't see you. So feel free to grab your coffee, get some eggs, have some breakfast while we listen to the presentations today. The New Hampshire Tech Alliance events, here's some channels. We want you to share it out, let everyone know what's going on. If there's anything exciting you'd like to share out on your channels, please do so. And if you're curious about any other events that we have and you want to make sure that you don't miss any, just go to the New Hampshire techalliance.org/calendar, and it shows all the events they have, and you can even download it into whatever calendar you use so that it's always there and you won't miss a great event that's going on. Share it on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. This is being recorded also, and the Alliance will put it up on their YouTube channel. Usually takes a couple days, so check back in a couple days on their YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see this breakfast as well as any of our other breakfasts that we have had in the past. I just wanted to make a quick note here of the Tech Alliance Innovation Summit going on now. So check it out. Go to the YouTube channel. There's a live stream on December 9th from 4 to 5 p.m. So please go and check out the Innovation Summit. You can see everything that's been recorded and the live streaming. So hopefully you can join us. So our TechWomen Power Breakfast series is brought to you with the graciousness of our sponsors. And I want to tell you a little bit about the benefits of being a sponsor in case you or your organization is interested in ever sponsoring one of our events. You do have the opportunity to speak at one of our events. Your company name will be included on all press releases prior. And it really highlights your company's commitment to supporting women and girls in technology. With that said, we do have a monthly sponsor for this month, Market Street Talent. And I'd like to invite Megan up on stage here to tell us all about Market Street Talent.
Thank you so much, Heather. Good morning, everyone. It's super exciting to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan Feely, and I am an account executive here at Market Street Talent. We are a woman-founded and woman-led IT recruiting and consulting company located right in downtown Portsmouth. Although for the last, feels like forever now, we've kind of all been remote in our own little worlds. We're proud to be the December sponsor for the TechWomen Power Breakfast. It's a huge initiative for us to be able to promote and foster the growth of IT in our community, especially among women. And these events really help to make that happen. So here at Market Street Talent, we work to help our clients find the right person for those really hard to fill technical jobs. Currently, right here in New Hampshire, we are looking to fill a UX researcher, a DevOps engineer, a project coordinator, a .NET engineer, just to name a few. So if you're interested or you know of anyone who you think could be a good fit for some of these jobs, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always open to connecting, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, and thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Megan. So Market Street Talent has been a fantastic sponsor of our TechWomen Power Breakfast. They've sponsored many, many months this year, and we really appreciate it. So definitely check them out. Megan, feel free to put your website in the chat box so people can go directly to your website to check out Market Street Talent and see about the positions that you had just discussed. So thank you again, Market Street Talent. Really appreciate it. If you're interested in learning more about our events or being a sponsor, please reach out to one of my committee members, Shannon Herman, Ping King, Katie Geary, Vandana Sharma, or myself. We'll be happy to chat with you. Anything having to do with TechWomen, TechGirls, our breakfast, if you are interested in sponsoring. So just reach out to one of these lovely ladies and we'll be happy to help you out. Speaking of which, we could use a little bit more help. Vandana has to actually step back for a few months, because we all have day jobs. That's just taken up an enormous amount of her time. So we have a slot to fill. So if you're interested in becoming a member, you have a desire to get more involved, reach out to us and we'll tell you what being involved is all about. So with that, that brings us to today's speaker, Cate Heaman. Let me read Cate's bio off to you. So Cate is the CEO and founder of Prelude Solutions. She has demonstrated 23 years of experience in the telecommunications industry. Cate has a strong education and professional skills in enterprise bill auditing and organization, contact center, cloud transformation strategies, and has many years as a planning expert and proven experience in Avaya, Cisco, and Microsoft products. Cate uses her unparalleled sales skills with a brilliance for connecting people and continuing a desire to give back to the community. Cate has been a founder and CEO of businesses in the Philadelphia region since July of 2005. And as a CEO, Cate leads with purpose, courage, humility, and character. Her role is to instill confidence in the ecosystem of the team, partners, and clients to achieve high performance for all. And as a women-owned leader, Cate celebrates and advocates for the power of individual differences, diversity, inclusion, and racial equality for all. So thank you so much, Cate, for joining us. Let's give Cate a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are good to go.
Wonderful, wonderful. And first of all, Heather, thank you so much for actually seeking me out during the Tango Alliance. I guess it was more of a presentation that we were all having for a week of nonprofits and supporting the nonprofits in the New England area. So I really appreciate you bringing me here today. And then I had the opportunity, of course, to meet with the team Monday and learn more about the organization. So that was, it's just been a wonderful experience thus far. And I'm delighted to be here and amongst all of you women today. I do have a presentation. I think I'm going to figure, I haven't been on this platform, but I think I can share. Let's see what we've got here. Windows, let's see, boom, share. And I'd like this to be very interactive. I know that we can't speak amongst ourselves, but of course, if you are able to work in the chat box, that would be fabulous. And any questions, Heather, please be sure to bring them up to us here. I'm sure that everybody can see that now.
You're good to go.
Good to go. Okay, wonderful. And Heather, you'll be able to talk and see everything in the chat and see how people are looking for questions.
Definitely.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much. Just a little. This morning I thought it would be important to pull down a stat as I'm here with Women in Technology. So I grabbed these stats this morning. In 2020, 25% of the employees are women in technology. That's still very low, but congratulations, everybody. And that's from the GAFM, which is Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft statistics. And then 25% of the women hold jobs in technology in 2021. So we haven't moved the needle, which is a little bit sad, if you will. But then it also shows that 20% of all leadership positions are in technology are women. So we're even less than that. So I want to applaud all of you women here today for being in the top 25% and being 25% as well. But it just goes to show you that, and I think that, you know, if you're here today, you're passionate about being a woman in technology, and you're passionate about helping others to really strive and to continue their I guess career in technology. I that last line on this slide, it's difficult to climb the ladder of success, still even fewer women succeed. A little bit of background about myself. I had been working for a competitive local exchange carrier for 7.5 years, and the only other woman of about 58 men in the executive team. There was one woman, and I was working for her on her team, thankfully. But when she left at the age of 35, I realized the ladder could not be climbed any longer, and that's when I started my own business in technology, and have not looked back since. I'm on my second business now. The first business, as Heather described, we were a hardware software via platinum partner, and I grew that to about 45 people. And then there were 3 partners, and it went down to 2 partners. And the partnership at that point was a 50-50 partnership, male, female. And I wanted to be women owned and certified. It was really my passion. And so I had asked for one more point from the then partner, and at the time he had said no. So 5 years ago, I started Prelude Solutions. I said, you know, I really want to come. I really, you know, this is something, one of my passions, and this is something that's really important. And, you know, I also want to be a mentor for women in business, and that there was no other way to do that than to do that. So that's why Prelude Solutions started 5 years ago. And I'll tell you a little bit about the company as we talk through this. But I'm passionate about Prelude Solutions, not because it's women owned, but because what my career path is I would go and implement solutions for companies, nonprofits, for-profits, nonprofits, and it was mostly local, long distance, internet, land, framing, all of the technology. And after performing a contract and going through all the implementation, we as the sales leaders would have to go on site, and we'd have to review the contract with the invoice as your first on-site visit after everything's been implemented. And never, ever was the first invoice correct. So I got wise, and I would go up to the second floor of that company, and I would say, listen, I got to go on site. I know that the contract and the invoice is not going to be right according to the service agreement. So let's make our corrections now. I'll go on site, and in 2 bill cycles, we'll have a happy customer. And there was the first beginning of my first company, because after 7.5 years of making corrections on invoices and contracts, I said, wait a second. In these larger companies, MCI at the time, AT&T, you can't walk up to the second floor and have a happy customer, you know, do some bill credits and make it all go away, right? And I said, there's a business here. And that's really how my first company started. I said I wanted to set out and set it right, and really have companies that have contracts and invoices that match, and that there's not erroneous charges and misbillings that are very grossly part of their overspend. So that there lies tells a whole story about how my first company started, and then I explained how Prelude Solutions started, which is a telecommunications consulting firm. And what we really do is we go out and we look at organizations and we analyze all of their invoices and contracts for our savings. So today, I thought it would be really helpful to talk about some tips and tricks, and how can you go away today with implementing some cost savings within your organizations, and then also give you an overarching understanding of how can your organization implement cost reductions while having 100% of business connectivity. And we'll talk about some savings and leveraging emerging technologies for your voice, your data, your video, and solutions in 2021, which we only have about a couple of weeks left in 2022 is really what we're looking forward to. And, we'll have a discussion about savings and implementing those in your technology. And I guess at this point, I would want to ask the community at large, is this something that you've seen in your organization as an area that, I wonder if we're really earning the exact amount from our contracts to our invoices to our customer service records? Is that all in line? I wonder, does anybody think about that in your role, or when you look at your organization, you think, do you think those bills are correct? And I pose that question to the community if anybody thinks that. And if you don't, I can move on to. Heather, anybody chatting on it?
No.
No. Okay.
I'll let you know if it pops up.
Okay, that's great. We're going to talk a little bit about the cost reduction and pure savings for telecom expense, for audit. What's the process to go through that expense and auditing process, and how do you prepare for such an audit? What's the time needed in your organization to perform an audit? And what are the increases of the bottom line? What percentages are we talking about? Why do I want to go through an audit of my organization? And what types of technology could in fact improve if I do go through such an audit? So those are the things that we're going to talk about today.
And Cate, someone did pipe in that they have had several invoicing issues over the past few months. And also, she said, we put them down to pains associated with trying to switch to an automated system, but would love any and all tips and tricks.
Fabulous. She just talked about my next slide. So what's the current state of companies in 2021? And this is coming off of 2020, right? So if you're a nonprofit, you have inability to raise funds through any in-person events. So there's a lack of funds there. If you are for-profit or nonprofit, you migrated to hybrid solutions without any time to truly analyze your environment. And I think that's what the chat box was just alluding to, right? Your technology is strained. And then also, conversely, people are working from home. So you have a amount of technology, a massive amount of technology on your buildings and your companies that is not being used. So there's a number of overusage in your homes and underusage, in fact, in the environments of which you went to work to every single day. So where is that balance, and how do you find that balance? And there's a higher demand with fewer resources. And I think Megan, is seeing that as she continues to look for positions within her community there. And then there's a lack of resources dedicated to technology needs. And that's always been the case. IT has always had a lack of resources. You're back in as history has it, is the IT department's always been strained. And with this change in our environment, it's strained even more. A little bit about Prelude solutions. And I saw Megan, she had one of, I don't know if can you guys see me, by the way? Yes or no, Heather? They see me? I saw that she had one of these on her.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. I'm a big Rosie the Riveter fan myself. What's a little bit about giving myself some credibility in our organization and the people that are part of the organization. So what I had mentioned and what we're talking about today is we audit the providers and the carriers for savings. And what we're able to do is we're able to find 11% higher than the industry norm. The industry norm is about 22%. We also take a look at those contact centers within, if you have a call center, we look at optimizing call centers. And that's not necessarily from a savings perspective, as much as it is from a workforce management, a SWOT analysis, average handling time. So we have that expertise in our organization. And then you can see there's an infinity circle. You know, your audit providers, you recoup that money. So we're recouping that money and we're using a success-based model. So what that means to you is that we come in and we find a percentage of savings, and we share in those percentage of savings. So it is no cost to you in order to perform an audit and optimization of all of your carriers and your solutions. And then we help to put in and maintain those telecom expense management solutions or wireless expense management. And we bring that through to the project management and training. So through our trusted network of 260 plus providers, will say, okay, you can gain $100,000. I'm using this for simple math in savings. However, if you have this technology, and this technology, and they can now collapse because you're out of contract, we can increase your solutions and savings to 150,000. Plus, we're going to bring in a better one-stop shop for this area, or we're going to collapse these services, and that's how we can gain more savings. So we're always looking at how we can optimize on your pure savings. And then we are 100% women-owned and certified. We are WBENC certified, WOSB certified, and then we also look to be state and local certified within the companies and organizations that we work within, so that we can gain more diversity and inclusion dollars for our organizations as a whole. So those are just some of the differentiators, and I think why Heather thought it was a good idea for me to be able to speak to this community about how to perform some tips and tricks, right? So one of the things that you can do today is you can pull all of your inventory and your contracts and your invoices and just start looking at, okay, how is this contract says it was contracted for one circuit at $550 and the bill says it's $800. Now what's making up that $800? And you want to take a look, is the base rate $550? And then what are all these surcharges? And that's where some of those FCC and surcharges may or may not be valid. And that's where you want to start looking at. But it's really just starting to pull that inventory and taking a look at it. Now, from our perspective, we pull what's called customer service records. And customer service records, it's almost like reading code. So that I would not think that would be something that is easily done, but we'll pull the customer service records and the service agreements, and we're looking at all of those pieces of information. We're analyzing them for past credits, inaccurate taxes, tariffs, inaccurate billings, erroneous charges, and service realignments. And then we're taking a look at how can we validate those results. So we're looking at the carrier and the technology, the future of the billing, and we're looking for really overall savings, whether it's past or future. So for example, AT&T has a charge on there. You contracted for $35 a line. It's coming out at $75 a line. You know, you realign that, you go back for any past credits, and then you look for the future and you say, okay, this is what it's going to be. Let me take a look at this and make sure it comes to that every single month. I am simplifying this. It is a process, and that's why we have 20 analysts that do this, but there are some things that you can do immediately, and I wanted to make sure that you understood that and how it works. Now, a little bit about how the process works for us is, with our organization, we simply engage in a free audit, and in that free audit we have a kickoff meeting. And that's where we learn more about the environment. What do you have from everything from your services and your systems, and how do they marry together? And then we'll go off and we do the analysis. And we work with what's called a letter of agency. So we gain a letter of agency from your organization that says we can go in to the carrier portals, pull customer service records, contracts, because we want the most recent contract that they have, not necessarily that you have. And then we'll also pull the service agreements, and we look at the information, and that's how we then start doing that analysis. And we also look for FCC changes. So I'll give you an example. AT&T had an FCC change where it was just for long distance. However, what they did is they took the FCC increase of, let's call it 5%, and they put it over your entire environment. So your internet and your local, not just your long distance. And that FCC charge should have only been on that long distance piece. And that's some of the regulatories that we look at, and we can go back and go to carriers and understand that's one of the pieces. Another really important piece of information, and I'm going to get to a slide on this, but this is a tip that I didn't put on the slide, but please take notes. If you're in a hosted telephony environment, right, and that is where, and most people are at this point in some type of hybrid hosted telephony position, right, where your phone system is coming through your computer, or you have a phone at your home. It's what you call in the cloud, right? If on your invoice, you're seeing 911 charges for every single one of your lines, that is not the case. It's only on the main circuit. So 911 charges, let's call it $2.99. Well, you take that times 20 every month, that's a big savings. It should only be on the main circuit because it's now in the cloud and it's internet, and all your DIDs, your direct inward dials, are coming to your personal lines. So they're able to register accordingly. So just take a note on that. We just had a couple clients just recently that we've been able to save a significant amount of money with that little find. And then we come back and we show you these, we review the recommendations. And at that point, right, you then say, okay, we would like you to go after these credits, these surcharges, these erroneous billings, and we'll go and we'll implement those. And then we don't get paid until we verify those results. And that's really important. So if we're going after a back credit for, $20,000, we're not going to ask for any of that percentage until we see that back credit on your invoices, because we want you to see the credit, earn the credit, and then give us a percentage of that savings. And that's how it all works. Does anybody have any questions about how that works or anything that I've spoken about thus far?
Yeah.
Oh, yep, go ahead.
Cate, go ahead.
Oh, good. No, good. This is a little bit about the time that it takes. If you're going to have an outside organization like ourselves to perform an audit, and I would suggest that you take a look at it yourself first. Like, let's get some low-hanging fruit, which I'm going to get to that slide. Before you bring someone else like us in, because we're going to take a percentage of that savings. That's why I want to arm you with some information today. But here's what it does. If you looking at your spend in technology, you can say 33% of this is going to be recovered by Prelude Solutions. And what does that mean to my organization? If you're in that 100 employees or less, you're going to get about $30,000 in savings. Okay. It's going to take 7 hours of your time, because we ask for you to meet with us once a week, every week, to look at the savings and approve them. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. So we're going to do that once a week, every week, for 30 minutes. And it's going to take 1 to 2 months from beginning to end. If you're in that 500 plus employee, it's going to take 2 to 3 months. You're going to average about 150,000. And if 1,000 plus employees, you're about $500,000 in savings. And it'll take about 4 months, but it'll take about 7 days. So that's really important. The client's time is what's the most important, because I think in the very beginning, I had a slide about how stretched your IT department is. This is typically a decision that comes from the CFO, because they want the money back in their organization. But the IT department wants the inventory of what they have. They want the documentation of their contracts. They want to know what their future looks like. If this contract's here, here, and there, I can't do anything yet. I gained $30,000 in savings. However, on the horizon, I now know that on March 2022, I can start looking at this technology and looking and going for an RFI and finding out what I could do to make and improve what I have today, whether it's increased savings or improving that technology so that my clients, being my coworkers, have a better experience all around. And that's what I'm talking about, those alternative services. So, we're looking to a trusted environment of 260 providers to help from an RFI perspective. So what does that mean? We take the features, the functionality, the DNA of a project, if you will, and we map it all out. We take it and RFI it to our back office of 260 providers. We come back and we present the best 10 that are hitting the features and functionality. And it could be according to Gartner Group. It could be according to private or public. It could be also according to ease of implementation, their portal, and are they local to your organization if that's important. And we rank that. And usually you have about 3 that bubble up to the top there, and 7 that this is the reason why not. And those 7 that are the reason why not are just as important as the 3 that are, because in any organization, you'll have several stakeholders and they'll say, did you look at Ring Central? Well, yes, we did, but this is why it didn't work. Or did you look at this security solution? Yes, we did, but this doesn't hit this and that. And it's good to have that information. As important as it is, here are the 3 best. And we help guide you through the process of decision making, right? So, demoing the products, looking at the portals, and helping with the pricing and the contract negotiation, and then making sure that the project management goes well. And then finally, as that infinity circle, as I showed in the beginning, the 2D billing. How does the billing relate to the new project that you just implemented, and how do we make sure that it's accurate? And it's not going to be accurate the first time. It's just not. And that's why we're here. And you're learning a little bit about that too. So here's some immediate takeaways. And I should have added that 911 on there, but that's okay. You took notes. So if you have, this is for cellular. So if you have any cellular in your environment, and honestly, this is also, it belongs in your home too, okay, as a family plan. AT&T and Verizon, they will automatically, in some environments, put what's called a GPS service on, and it's turned on. It's $2.99 per device, right? Okay. And who here doesn't use Waze or Google Maps? It's a free application. They're charging you $2.99 a month. Take a look at your invoice. If it's not on there, even call the carrier and ask them, do I have GPS services turned on? Please turn this off. I do not want to pay $2.99 anymore. So that's tip number 1. And I don't know how many here have a wireless in their environment, but I know everybody has a cell phone at home, or cell phone on them. So certainly something that you want to look at in your own home to make sure you're not getting that charge. Secondly, if you are a nonprofit, check your invoices for taxes or surcharges, because you are tax exempt. In nonprofits, we're getting 38%. And it's purely because they did not put the piece of paper into their organization that says you're tax exempt. So in any situation, first and foremost, get that taken off, and then fight back for inception, because you are due that, because they've now taken a percentage of your profits and charged you when they should not have. And so that's an immediate takeaway that you can do now. And I don't know how many nonprofits are here, but and if you know a nonprofit, if you have a friend or a colleague that's in a nonprofit, take a screenshot of this, please. Also, check your contract end dates immediately. Okay. There is this evergreen clause or an auto renewal. Anybody, of course, that's a woman in technology knows that you see that and you're like, oh, I hate it, right? We hate it too. And one thing that you do not want your contracts auto renewing at that rate from 2018 or 2017, because the technology has changed daily and that those rates are not fair market value rates. So immediately pull your contracts and see when your auto renew dates, and see when your contract end dates are in general, because now that gives you, okay, my contract end date is in 6 months. I now have the opportunity to go and start looking and seeing what else is out there. So just, if you do nothing, pull that. And then if you're an AT&T, if you have AT&T, there's this URL that here you can use to expedite and remove any taxes too, if you're tax exempt. So I just wanted to put that on there. And this comes, we do a lot in nonprofits, and it's one of our passions. Well, probably my passion is to help nonprofits. We do for-profits too, but I always get upset when carriers are doing charging nonprofits money that they just could be using for our community at large. So that's one of the areas. Just, if you guys have any questions, are there any questions, Heather, at all? Nope.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, great. So we're, one of the things that we always like to do too is we're not just in there for pure savings and erroneous charges, right? I'll give you an example. Edelbrook actually is up in Connecticut. They had 17 locations, and they also had cable in every single one of those locations. So what we did is we said, listen, you're getting 17 paper bills. Let's get this online down to one invoice. We're going to reduce they're going to get some savings, but also we're going to take those paper bills, we're going to put them online. You're not going to have 17, you're going to have one account with sub accounts because they have to allocate costs accordingly. And that's faster productivity gains and faster processing times as well. So we're not just there to recoup the savings. We're there to also see how can we help organizations in their telephony really make it a better environment for their accounting, for their inventory. We for a large retail customer, we had 850 plain old telephone lines off over 77 locations. We said, there's an aggregator out there that could do this. Let's go out and RFI this to our environment. We found a wonderful aggregator. We took the 850 telephone lines, and some of them have there's conversions that you have to do for channel banks, and we're still going through that. But the good news is that we found one provider. We took 187 invoices down to one, and with the portal, and that's the type of forward thinking that Prelude is able to present to organizations like yourself. It's not just about the savings. And then here's some familiar logos. I thought I'd put these up just so you had some up in the New England. I was trying to get up in the New England area, as well as some big ones that you would understand too. So we are Philadelphia based, and of course this platform allows us to be right in your home. And we are actually across the United States. We have consultants in California and up and down the East Coast. And some of our global accounts are Grifols Therapeutics, but just in the New England area, Leading Age of Connecticut, we had AeroFarm. I think there's Edelbrook was up there. I put a quote from Edelbrook here, but some familiar ones down in the Philadelphia region: Philadelphia Museum of Art, Philadelphia Zoo, Devereaux, J.G. Wentworth, IKEA. We have success stories in every single industry, but I just thought I'd throw them up here just to give you some credibility and some comfort level with the information that I gave you, so you can go back to your organization and implement those changes. And then just as a final overview, we do a free analysis. We do free health checks with our organizations. We have access to 260 services. And as I mentioned, we're WBNC and WSB certified. And that's all I have for today. So who has some questions?
Thank you, Cate. I really appreciate the immediate savings. So the first thing I'm going to do when I have a break today is I'm going to go check out to see if I have GPS turned on in my home phone. And of course, I think most organizations do have cellular within their organization today, as well as obviously everybody in their personal environment. So that was very helpful, and to know the specifics. We do have quite a few not-for-profits members as well as attendees here. There's always a significant percentage. So it is a mix of for-profit people and nonprofits.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
Yeah, so we do have time for Q&A. We wrapped up early today to allow time for Q&A. So if anyone has anything, you can type it in the chat box or the Q&A box, as well as if you want me to turn your camera on and you want to speak to Cate directly, let me know, and we can do that as well. So Jody put in the chat box, just wanted to share that although I have not used Cate's services, I experienced doing this type of audit and found over $600,000 in savings. Oh my gosh, Jody. The telecom companies make a lot of mistakes and errors. Way to go, Cate. That is, thank you for sharing that, Jody. That's awesome. So yeah, there's services out there, and that's a testimonial to looking. And Jody is a CFO by trade. So
okay,
that's
no, that's great. I mentioned IKEA. We are up to $850,000 in savings, and we're at 43% savings across the board for them. I mean, it's just it's out there. I mean, and then there are carriers that are worse than others, and AT&T being one of them. I say worse, that's not the right word, that are what's the word I want, more apt to find savings. Lumen, Windstream, AT&T, you have those in your environment, you definitely have savings. Verizon, of course, Comcast, a lot of that is consolidation with Comcast. And Five9's big one too. We use Five9's a lot, but they do have some misbillings and erroneous charges too.
Yeah, I mean, it really sheds light on, like Jody said too, just talk to your CFO. And to think about it for your organization as well as everybody in their personal lives, right? I mean, a lot of these, what I find, because I'm getting my son a new cell phone for Christmas, so I was going through all this stuff. And they just make it so complicated. To try to like pull the wool over you. So sometimes just taking a step back and doing what you do to really look at the details, because they try, I'm savvy, but I'm not a finance person.
No, I mean, and I've built a business on this. So, 23 years doing auditing and optimization. And yes, we did do hardware, software, but it all started with an audit. Everything that we do starts with an audit, because even if we're looking at alternative services, we have to know the environment first. You cannot, switch anybody without saying, okay, where are these services going to, and understanding the users that are in an environment. So
yeah. And Jody brings up another point. She said, yes, AT&T worked with her firm, and they were being charged through the wrong channel and being charged some telecom taxes that were not correct. So,
and that expense management solution, Jody, is also very important. The check and proceed, because we have a global pharma account that Grifols Therapeutics, and we've been in there for 13 years. And just this past year, we found $380,000 in savings for them through AT&T, because AT&T went and mischarged them on a number of sites, and we found it, and we were like, wait a second, this is incorrect. This is according to the contract, and that just it happens. I mean, even after we cleaned up IKEA, we found $70,000, and they're doing implementation, a SIP implementation, and we found $70,000 in the month of October and November, because we're making sure that we're keeping their invoices right, and that's just in 2 months after our optimization.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
It really is.
It's free money. It's getting money back.
No, it is, and that's you had to be creative. I mean, organizations have gotten their PPP lines, maybe an EIDL line if they went that route. And now, what's next? Where else can you squeeze the lemon, right? Well, you can squeeze the lemon in your telecom, because you can find 33% or more. And, we're sharing in the savings. So just to give you an idea, we're only taking a percentage of savings over 12 months. Our organization wants to be a partner, and a long-term partner. We just want you to get the savings as immediate as possible. So if you're in your budget, and Jody being a CFO can understand that if it's over 12 months, it stays the same for 6 months and then it drops drastically. So you're paying the carrier or us the same exact for 6 months and then it drops. So that's exactly how it works, just so you have an idea.
Interesting. I have a question. Do you have any, and you may not know this off the top of your head, but is there percentages, like say for, I know you talked a little about the size of an organization. Is there, under 50 employees typically see this type of saving,
Yeah.
Does it rank like that by the size, like by head count? Does that, or is it more by revenue, the amount of revenue an organization brings in?
It's typically by location and by size, right? So I will say this, and I err on the side of caution, but organizations that are usually under 100 persons, we do like them to keep their savings because we want them to improve their technology. We're not going to break the bank on making $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 in savings. We want them to put that back into their organization. And we really want to say, okay, we found the savings, but let's change the technology. And usually that's what happens with organizations that are 100 or less. They usually need some type of change in technology. 100 people or more, then you're going to find in those savings and you're going to share in the savings. And we do, we start at 50-50 over a 12-month period at a time. And depending on the revenue size, that can go down because the larger the spend, the more savings we recoup, and we don't want to be in a large cost. We're in it to partner for a long time, right? We have, we've been in business. This business has been in business for 5 years, and every single one of the customers that we brought on, we do a client care program with them when we're connected to them. So it's important.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any other questions or chat, or want to come on stage to say anything to Cate? Nothing right now. So I'll give you a few more minutes though. And with that, Cate, any other closing remarks? I really appreciate you joining us today from Philadelphia. That's been one of the benefits, everybody, of being able to have the virtual environment, even though I do miss seeing all your beautiful faces in person. This has allowed us to tap into other speakers and have attendees from other parts of the country that normally didn't happen. So Cate and I met, as she said in the beginning, through another organization. So this worked out really well. So I appreciate you joining us here this morning.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And please, I think that, should I send my information to everybody on here, or how does that work, Heather?
Yeah, feel free to type that in. And I'm gonna share my screen momentarily and do my closing remarks like I normally do. But feel free to put that in the general chat, and everyone will have your contact information to reach out. And
I just want to invite everybody, please, if you have any questions, I'm here. We are here as consultants, so we're here to provide free advice, right? Anybody can go on the internet and get information. So just come to us. We'll guide you. We'll give you some information. Even if you want to say, is it worth it for me to do an audit? We're going to tell you if it's worth our time and your time to do it. So please reach out. I'll talk to you personally, and I'm happy to answer any questions you or your organization has to see if it's worth it, or give you some tips and tricks of what to do if it's not. So please, I'm here as to help and serve.
Thank you, Cate. I really appreciate that. And like I said, I'm about to share my screen to do my closing remarks. But remember, everybody, we do keep the room open. We were able to end a little bit early today to give you some time back to grab some more coffee before you move on for the rest of your day. But Cate can hang out at one of the tables. So look for her. I don't think we have TML numbers on there today. If you want to ask her some other questions, privately, and if you want to stay after the network, the room will be open. So feel free to network with everybody. And with that, let me just share my screen here. Again, takes me 1 second to do that. And go into mode. So thank you again, Cate. Appreciate it. So please join us next month, January 12th. We're going to have back Jody Holt, who was just joining us. She's been here today, and she was answering some giving some pointers as well in the chat box. Jody, for those of you who don't know, is the co-founder and CEO of Concern. And she's going to be talking about using technology to manage personal and family finances and administration. Jody spoke with us back when we just really started the group. It'd only been in existence about a year, I think, if that, back in like 2016. So a lot's happened on her journey since then. So we're so excited to have Jody back. So please join us on January 12th. Jody's fantastic. And also, I wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. It's been a pleasure this year. We've made it through 2021 through Remo, and it's wonderful. And as I mentioned, we do plan on going back in person. Definitely January and February will still be remote, so you can count on this platform. And then we're looking at having every other month in person and virtual. So stay tuned, but you can count on January, February being remote. And we're fingers crossed, maybe in March, we'll be back at the Manchester Country Club. But because due to popular demand of being able to do the virtual environment, we are definitely going to be alternating virtual and in-person to accommodate those of us who cannot attend in person due to proximity. So again, happy holidays, everybody. Thank you so much. And I'll see you back on the floor. Have a great day. Bye-bye.